and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of BoltBlitz Uncut. I'm your host, Booga Peters. It's Wednesday. It's our new regularly scheduled segment with our co-host and producer, Taylor Bloom. Taylor, thank you so much for joining me. I'm not sure if you're still smiling so hard because of the fact that the Chargers did finally make not finally, but they made the right decision. They got rid of not just only former offensive coordinator Greg Roman, but also former offensive line coach Mike Devlin. Both needed moves. Your thoughts on that, and then let's roll with some other shit.
Well, I had looked to my phone yesterday. I was on the computer working, and I saw Adam Schefter pop up saying, Greg Roman's been fired, and I screamed so loud, I scared my dogs yesterday. So I don't think I've screamed that loud for a Chargers fire since Brandon Staley got let go a couple of years back. But I definitely agree that it was the right move for the Chargers to move on from Greg Roman. Mike Devlin, it's been a thorn in my side talking about it week to week, just how this offense just feels like it just cannot get going. And I'm glad that Jim Harbaugh saw the light and decided to cut ties with both of them very shortly after the loss on Sunday.
Well, and let's make it very clear. It had to be an incredibly tough decision for him.
Yeah.
We all saw the pictures of the next to each other RVs, so to speak, and they're right there on the beach, and they're palsies, and they worked together, obviously, for all of Jim Harbaugh's tenure in the NFL, both with the Niners and the Chargers. This upcoming season will be the first year that Harbaugh has a non-Greg Roman OC. It'll be exciting to see, whom they kind of throw into that spot, because it's interesting. Taylor, we talked about some of yours, and I'm just going to kind of shout your list out a little bit if you don't mind.
Yep.
And I love the Todd Monken one. Jim Bob Cooter, for those of you who are not familiar with Todd Monken, he was actually the supposed reason that John Harbaugh got fired from Baltimore because, well, John wouldn't fire him. But he's obviously a big part of the Harbaugh family, and they worked together before. But Jim Bob Cooter, former offensive coordinator with the Detroit Lions, very nice, kind of interesting, kind of spacing type, modern-ish offense, but you can still get the run going. And then David Shaw, former Stanford head coach. This is a great list, Taylor. You really did some hard work on this. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is really good. And then he's obviously the Detroit passing game coordinator. And then the last on your list, Alex Tanney, former quarterback in the NFL, and then he's a passing game coordinator as well.
Yep.
You put some time into this. If you had to roll the dice, is there one that you're like, this feels the most likely?
Well, I think the one that's going to be most likely is Monken. Now, Monken's a hot name right now. I know he interviewed with the Bucks. I think it was today or yesterday. So let's see if the Chargers get an interview this week. But my two choices with Tanney and Jim Bob Cooter, I like the coaching tree from Shane Steichen. Justin Herbert won Rookie of the Year with Shane Steichen as his OC. So I really like someone from his coaching staff potentially coming over to the West Coast and putting Justin Herbert in a position to succeed in this offense.
I think a lot of that, as far as Herbert succeeding, has to do with our boy Ortiz maybe improving on the interior line. But that being said, you couldn't have said it any better. Speaking of just the end of this season and how things kind of transpired, and thank you for Ortiz for everything you put in place regarding this roster, but he's going to have a lot of really tough decisions coming up here during this offseason. This is a really, really delicate situation when it comes to the thoughts via the Bolt fam when it comes to Khalil Mack. We're not shitting on anybody here. This show has always shown respect to Khalil Mack. But Taylor, you're not brand new to football, and you're definitely not brand new to the Chargers. I saw that 2009 ticket stub. I was so happy to see that. But, a little long in the tooth. The production was down, obviously, at 6 sacks. Only, I think it was 19 tackles. It wasn't a great stat line. Obviously, he means so much more than the box score, and we're not box score kids here. But what would it take to sign him, and would it be worth it for the Chargers to do so?
Yeah, I mean, I think that his price tag is going to be extremely high for what he produced this year. I personally think the Chargers need to move on to someone younger on the defensive line. I mean, we talked about it going through his numbers this year. He had 19 solo tackles. He had 6 sacks, total pressures 39. I mean, besides the forced fumbles, he has 3 this year. All of his other stats rank, way out of the top 10. I think the highest one besides the forced fumbles is the stops, where he was ranked 36 in the NFL. So I think it's time to move on and get a little bit younger on the defensive line. But he also may retire too. So that's going to be up in the air. And I pray Ortiz doesn't come out and say, we just want to bring everyone back again.
Oh God. Well, especially when that comes to the interior offensive line. I will say this, Khalil Mack, and I don't know if it's unfair to say this, but this is just how I feel. Probably one of my favorite Chargers pass rushers ever, despite what I do believe and agree with you, will be an abbreviated stay, if you will.
Mhm.
Obviously, Bears, Raiders, Chargers. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. I wish him nothing but the best, but I just don't know how it fits in with where this team is going forward. Here's a no-brainer. Let's put a big fat worm on the hook and make sure that we can get all the bluegill coming in. Should the Chargers re-sign Teair Tart?
1,000,000%. He had a great year this year. It's probably one of his best years he's had. So they should give him the bag and not make the mistake they did with Puna Ford last year, letting him walk. So
it's a great comparison. And what's funny is we were big Puna fans, and it was a tough thing to see him go. But at this point, for them to let Teair Tart walk, it would be malpractice. You really don't want to have any more holes in there. Yes, of course you did possibly overdraft, but you did just draft Jamari Caldwell. I like him a lot as a player, and he made a lot of splash plays here and there. But there were also times where he was a liability on the inside. Let's not create another gap in what is already a vulnerable run defense up the middle and an interior that, aside from Tart, doesn't get pressure. You have to bring back Tart as far as I'm concerned. We talked about Odafe Owe, and here's I wish we had 80 here just to pat us on the back for this one. You know where I'm going, Taylor. Yep. Zion Johnson. Charger fans are not going to like where we're going to go with this, but Zion Johnson has to come back, doesn't he?
So I think he comes back if it's a team friendly deal. I don't want to see them. Friendly? I would say in like that 10 million mark a year. That's my number. I definitely don't want to overpay for him. I think, like I said, I think they're going to fix a lot of the interior, one in the draft, and 2, there's a lot of free agents they can go after. So I wouldn't overspend on him. I know that Harbaugh loves him, but he was just average this year. And, you can make the argument, well, he didn't have the tackles on the offensive line. Still, if you're that guy that wants that money, you got to perform.
Well, and how often do we get to just sit here and say, well, if he would have had these great guys around him, we saw what happened with Becton when he had great guys around him in Philly.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, he did great out there. And then you put him in the Chargers roster. And what does he do? He fucking posts Joker bullshit on fucking Instagram. Are you kidding me? It sucked. And then he had the nerve to do it. What was it? You showed it to me. Was it during the last week or right before the last game?
He posted that joke.
Another one at some point. No, before the playoff game.
Yeah, he posts the same picture every week before game day of the stupid Joker with his bag, and it's like, dude, play a full game and not sit out. A
bag of money because he blew it up when they gave it to him. He didn't
stole it.
Fuck. Jared Gaither 2.0, just a different fucking position. Still along the O-line. Gaither at least kind of had a good year with the Chargers for part of that season that earned him the contract the following season. This is kind of a fun one too, and I really wish we had 80 here for this as well. But Trevor Penning on a cheap right kind of deal, did he show you enough when he was literally being used as a move tight end and running in motion along the line? Did he give you enough to earn another year to kind of show what he can provide for this team and the fan base?
Yeah, I think so. Granted, the week 18 against Denver, their second stringers on that line, but he performed very well. His PFF grades reflected that. I thought putting him in motion in some of those plays, they actually had him in motion running routes. That was pretty cool. But I think on a cheap deal, bring him back. He's a big body, and we've seen this year when he's had to either be the sixth offensive lineman or has to go in for Becton, he's played pretty well. So I would definitely bring him back as that second tier option for this offensive line.
The bottom line is he's not going to be expensive at all.
No.
It's not like he's going to be this highly desired free agent. If he doesn't want to try to move or go somewhere else, and I'm not sure that he necessarily moved out to LA, but if he'd like to stay put with the Chargers, I think that he's kind of a good idea as a backup line. I like that, even though we don't know who the offensive coordinator is going to be, I think that as a backup right guard or left guard, without having to be a move tight end in a now non-existent Greg Roman offense, I think that he actually has a little bit to give. And I've talked about this for the last 15 years. I'm not a fan of everyone being a choir boy on the team. I like having a guy who's got a little bit of nasty, a little bit of little angst built up, because I think you need those tough guys. You need those nasty guys. Your leaders and smart guys will keep them in line, as far as I'm concerned. Let's have a difficult conversation here. Tyler Conklin. Oh, wait, no, that's not difficult. Sorry. Yeah, get the fuck out of Dodge.
Goodbye.
Here's the tough one, and I'm just going to pile them both together. Slayer, Keenan Allen, Denzel Perryman. Is there any way that, especially with a new offensive coordinator, that Keenan Allen stays around, and then, of course, what seems to be is going to be a new defensive coordinator, that Denzel Perryman even stays around?
Yeah, I think I'll start with Perriman first. I think it's time to move on from Perriman too. He's good in the run game, but as far as we talked about this pass coverage, he's not too good. And I think they need to get younger in the linebacker position. And then with Keenan, yes, he was second on the team receiving yards this year. But they have so many offensive weapons. I mean, last year they drafted 2 wide receivers. I think the only way he comes back, the only way is if it's a similar situation what happened last training camp where Mike Williams retired and they're looking for another veteran. But I think between Ladd, QJ, Trey Harris, Keandre Lambert-Smith, you have Gatson too. I think that they're pretty solidified in their receiving core.
So here, we've talked about, you and I have talked about this, and we've talked about it in one of our group chats. It's kind of an uncomfortable situation to talk about, but did bringing Keenan Allen back kind of hinder the progression or the growth of Ladd McConkey? And the answer is yes. But when I say that, is it something that will prohibit them from bringing Keenan back? Or is this one of those things that Ladd McConkey's exit interview is about what we're about to talk about? And it obviously wasn't too pretty as far as I'm concerned. There's a lack of confidence. Any thoughts of bringing Keenan back, I think, would honestly put Ladd still in that same position, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Ladd still led the team in receiving yards this year. And he did have, I think there was 6 less targets than he had his rookie year. So, I mean, targets were there. His just catches were below what he had last year. I think it was, we talked about 84 catches in 24, and this year he was in the mid 60s. So there was quite a drop off from his rookie year to this year.
He needs to be involved more. And it's not that I'm sitting here going, well, every ball that Keenan caught should have been thrown to Ladd, and Ladd would have made more out of that. I'm not suggesting that. We were pro the Keenan signing. Hey, Brian Cates. Yeah, but he's still hitting his route. Yeah. So, okay. This is where we're gonna defer to the chat here, and I'm not gonna leave you out to dry here. I'm gonna take exactly what Brian Cates said there. Love you, Brian. So glad you're here. So Ladd suffered, but he is still hitting his routes. For example, the second play of the game, Herbert had scramble drill to the right. Ladd is hitting this wide open crosser. I mean, he's still running if 10 throws it to him. Did not. 10 had a really poor game. We'll do a different show, a separate show on how poorly Herbert played, because if I do that all right now, we're not going to get through all the players that we need to talk about if they need to be re-signed. Re-signed, hashtag, or sorry, hyphen, SIGNED. What? I know, Brian. He missed QJ on a post too. Oh, I mean, it wasn't just wide open. And then Twitter's response was, well, QJ would have dropped it. Well, let's give him a fucking chance. What? How's that? Like,
He had 4 drops this year.
I know, which is only one more than Ladd had.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least from what we talked about in the pre-show, it's the Chargers fan base is a weird one as it is, but I wouldn't have it any other way because it kind of keeps shit interesting all of the time. Characters all over the damn place, watching people. Oh, there she is. That's Jessica. The 2026 Chargers fan of the year. We're counting it down now. Damn it. Yeah, win a playoff game. Oh. So Herbert, until he does win a playoff game, is always going to wear that crown of it doesn't matter what any of us have to say as Herbert supporters. He can't get it done. He's a choker. He's a folder. He just cannot get it done when it matters the most.
Yeah, but I mean, Peyton Manning started his career 0-3. Matt Stafford started his career 0-3 in the playoffs. Matt Ryan was 0-3 in the playoffs. He's gonna get his win. It's next year. Next year, it's gonna happen. I'm manifesting it into existence right now.
You remember the graphic that I posted, and I forgot all the quarterbacks. No, I'm playing. She knew that on her own. I'm totally fucking playing. Let's go on because this one's important to me. Deshaun Hand. I'm not talking about his damn brother, you corny fools. Am I one of those fools who followed him?
1,000,000% I am.
I did too. It's kind of fun. He hasn't actually said anything relevant at all. Something's going to happen. Just wait. Oh, wait. Here comes another thing. It's like me showing my kids magic when they were 2 and 4 years old. Like, it's not even sleight of hand. It's just like, how bored am I right now?
It's kept it interesting the past couple of days, though. I will say that.
Yeah, we were coming off a really They are coming off a really rough loss. Deshaun Hand, he's a definite re-sign.
Yes, I agree. And
then Delshon Phillips, it's not just that he was. I'll tell you that it was 2 games. It was the week 16 game, no 17 game, and he had been back. I had never seen a special teams player, at least while watching live, make 4 tackles in a row. In other words, the first 4 consecutive special teams tackles. That's insane. That's crazy. And he got more after that. There was a break in there for whatever reason. He gave up for a play or two, but that's unheard of. And then when he gets thrust into the defensive lineup, he's getting after the quarterback. He's making plays in the backfield on running backs. Yeah, Cates knows it. He was on fire. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was nice to see that. He's a guy, not just for the special teams reasons, but on defense, he's got to come back. I'm sure you agree.
I do agree.
These are your guys, though, coming up. Josh Harris and Andre James. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, Josh Harris, 1,000,000%. I mean, we saw Rick Lovato this year, so and how important Josh Harris coming back was.
I'm so glad. I wrote down, I can't remember the last long snapper's name.
I got you.
I didn't even talk to you about it. You're so good. Yeah, Josh Harris, definitely. Andre James, can we put the internet or the interweb mystery to bed and just say, like, he was horrible. Our O-line expert, AD, was like, don't you dare let anybody ever say that he played well. He was aggressive. He was angry. He used bad words. He went after people all over all of the social medias, if you will. So he's not in favor of Andre James, and he knows more about O-line than I do. I'm going to side with him.
I would agree, and I think next year the backup is going to be our friend Bradley Bozeman anyway. So,
oh God, Oh, that's so dirty. Why would you do that to us?
I'm just saying.
Son Haskins, we're all done with him.
Yeah, I mean, I
Not
know
healthy often.
yeah, he's a hardball guy, but I mean, he barely played this year. He was always injured, so it's time to move on, and we could find someone else to fill that role.
It's going to be a new OC. We'll see what happens with Ryan Ficken. I don't want to make a weird segue into something that we didn't talk about, but are you concerned at all for Ryan Ficken's job?
I mean, special teams was really bad this year.
J.K. Scott especially, except for the one game where he averaged 50.7 a punt.
Yeah, I don't know. I think right now it's a coin flip for me. 24, 25, Ryan Ficken and that special teams did a really good job. I mean, Darius Davis was hurt all year. He was atrocious this year. Cam Dicker had another great year. But I don't know. To me, it's a coin flip right now.
It's hard for me at my age to call anybody on the Chargers unk.
I think Tony Jefferson is my age.
Everybody else calls him this. I mean, 4 interceptions, major hits in the right ways. Tony Jefferson, does he need to remain a Charger, and should he be willing, or should they be willing to give him a contract?
One, yes, and two, he was tweeting on X, and someone said, "Come back next year." And he's like, "I want to be back for 2 more years." So I don't know about 2 more years, but I definitely want him back next year. He played phenomenal this year in the defense, and to think that he got cut, then got put on the practice squad, made his way to the active roster, and just balled out this year and was one of our top defenders. Just, that's the kind of guy we want on the team.
There's something about being that savvy kind of a guy who's been around the ball so many times during the amount of years he's been in the league, where when you watch it happen with the Chargers, it's not an accident when you have a guy like Derwin down in the slot, especially, and then TJ up top doing what he does up there. Mickens will continue to develop, but the Chargers run a lot of 3 safety shit. So with obviously Derwin playing in the slot, TJ needs to come back. I don't know that you can pay him a ton of money. And I don't know if he's willing to play for a 1-year deal. But if he is, then he needs to be here for sure. And then if he's not, then find a way to sign him to a 2-year deal, but just make sure that it makes sense. Bobby Hart. He played well as a reserve on the right side. Bobby Hart, the left tackle, fire him into the sun.
No. Yeah. So this one was, I don't think we did talk about this one for a reason in the pre-show. I agree with you that right tackle, he played very well this year. There's a case he made that he played better than Trey Pipkins on that right tackle position. I think you bring him back if you just need some more depth. If you don't get it done during the draft and in free agency, or you have injuries go down, you have a guy that you can slide in there who is serviceable at right tackle.
They don't have a lot of draft picks. They'd have to do something in free agency for sure. That being said, I don't know. He's not exactly the youngest cat out there.
No, definitely not. But I think if you're in a bind and you're looking for some depth, maybe you bring him back on a 1-year extremely team friendly deal. But I'm hoping that's not the case, and Ortiz actually cooks something up and gets some actually real depth on this offensive line for next year, so you're not signing players off the couch.
Well, yeah, let's get away from that kind of thing. Hart hadn't played for a couple of years for those who are keeping score at home, and he ended up trying his best, and he actually had a couple really good, very respectable games where he acquitted himself well at right tackle, but at left tackle, they pulled him. What? Did he make the first drive, the full drive, or did they pull him? I don't know. It was real close.
I think they pulled him after the second quarter.
Yeah, so because 2 or 3 drives.
I remember tweeting at the game, I'm like, I'm over the Bobby Hart left tackle experience.
Yeah. It was right around. I don't think they had that many opportunities, but I can't remember off the top of my head, so I don't want to be misquoted because y'all love that shit. Jamari Sawyer, and now let's keep in mind, new OC coming in, but I think Sawyer acquitted himself well as a left tackle. As a backup, Again, I believe he's a sixth round draft pick actually out of Georgia. Your thoughts about him coming back, and does that need to be team friendly, or is that something where you feel comfortable saying he can be versatile enough along the line, minus playing center,
Yeah.
that he might be worth keeping an eye on and giving him a little cash to do everything?
I wouldn't play him in the interior. I think he did pretty bad when he had to fill in for Becton. But I would keep him as a tackle. He played very well when the Chargers exhausted all their options at tackle and they went to salary once he was finally healthy. So I would give him a little bit more money to stick around and be that swing tackle, backup tackle if they need it.
Well, and Harbaugh loves him.
Yeah.
He's somebody that he was bringing up all the time during the offseason and then continued to do so every time he had even a decent game. So honestly, I feel like Ortiz is going to like him enough at the right price that he's going to stick around. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. And we already know that Herbert loves him, but he loves everybody just as far as we're concerned, because that's what he tells us. Dean Leonard, love to see him back. He can run still. He's a great special teamer. I feel like he's kind of tied to Ryan Ficken. Are you concerned about his tenure coming back? Because he's a free agent as well. Not worth a lot of money, but would you do something to bring him back?
Yeah, I would. And you got to remember that the Chargers got rid of Jasir Taylor because they knew Dean Leonard was coming back. So that kind of speaks volumes to, what they think of him. So I think you bring him back. Like you said, he's not going to be expensive by any means, but he's a very good special teams player. So I would.
Oh, he's a phenomenal special teams player. It was good to see him. And when he's fully healthy, he's one of the fastest guys in the entire NFL. He can legitimately run. He's not Xavier Worthy. I'm not trying to be goofy, but like he can run. Tucker Fisk. This is a weird one for me. I just know that you don't want to replace your entire tight end room. I would love to see Tucker Fisk come back. He's somebody that, of course, our other co-host, 80 Simons, would endorse under the right circumstances. Are you on board with that, or do you think it's time to move on from him and find somebody younger?
No, I think you bring him back too. He's really good in the run game. He's a blocker. We saw him catch a few passes in that game Sunday. He's going to be cheap. I think you bring him back.
I'd like to see him back. And again, the contract that he he would sign, it would be minimal, so to speak, at best. Kamani Vidal, Jarrett Patterson, and Kendall Williamson, they're under the exclusive rights free agents contracts. I don't expect the Chargers to have to fight too hard for any of them. Williamson, I don't know that they would at all. I bet Vidal ends up remaining a Charger for the right price. There's a certain amount that it goes to, and honestly, I don't know the amount right off the top of my head. And then Jarrett Patterson, whatever that price tag would be due to his tenure within the league, if it's the right number for that, I wouldn't have a huge problem with that either. I think we both like Vidal. Your thoughts on Patterson, though?
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities that he got this year, I thought he took advantage of them. I've said on your show many times, I thought he's run really hard. The one game that comes to mind was the Vikings game, that Thursday night game. He got some opportunities and he scored a touchdown. So he's going to be extremely cheap. I would bring him back unless there's someone else in the free agent pool that blows you away who could do the same thing.
Free agency. I mean, I'm not trying to wish away my days, much less months, till we get to free agency, because damn, I don't know how much of this I got left. But I will say I'm really looking forward to free agency and what Ortiz is going to do. They've got a little bit of money. They happen to have the most cap space in the NFL. A lot of that's got to be spent on the guys that I believe we talked about, a lot of really good ones in Odafe Owe, Tier Tart. A lot of money is going to have to be spent. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of room for a lot of outside options in free agency, but I think we'd agree that they definitely need to find a way to accumulate more draft picks. I'm not sure exactly how they go about that, but right now they have a first, second, third, fourth, and a sixth. Ortiz is going to have to be pretty masterful.
I agree. We'll see what happens. I think we may have talked about this. If there's not a suitable offensive lineman in the first round for them to take at 22, you could trade your first round pick to acquire some more picks. So that may be the play. But, I have, when it comes to the draft, I have a ton of faith in Ortiz. I think the past 2 drafts he's nailed for the most part. So I don't see this one as any different for him and the Chargers.
No, that's awesome. There are so many people around me that I love and adore that do not agree with the way that Ortiz drafts. I don't necessarily agree or disagree. There are picks that I love. I still love the Hampton pick, but maybe that's because I am a little biased because I said that's my favorite player in the entire draft before he was drafted. And then he ended up a Charger, but I will say, let him get healthy. He's a top 5 back already in the NFL. I promise y'all. And if for whatever reason he was healthy for the entire 26 season, he'll lead the NFL in rushing. I have no doubt about it. I don't care who the OC is. You could throw Joe Montana in there. Well, no, because that's a West Coast offense. It'd be a Bill Walsh offense. He'd have a lot of receptions. I'll just say that. Taylor, this has been fun. Rough ending to the season. Obviously, we would have liked to have seen it extended. The Chargers deserve nothing but the best, not just the team, the organization, and their fans, but anybody who's listening right now, especially the haters. Thank you for allowing us to do what we do. We appreciate y'all. Do us a favor, Taylor. Tell us where we can find you all over social media, not just with BoltBlitz Uncut, but also on the Electric Edge podcast.
Yep. You could find me on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Electric Edge Pod. Also, if you want to listen to me ramble and rant about the Chargers, Electric Edge Podcast, you can find on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
That was so fast.
I talk a little fast. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's good. No, I just wasn't ready for it to be over, but here it is, and we are done. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me everywhere at Booga Peters or on the Old People app Dave Peters. Most people call me Booga. The old people call me David, but that's none of your damn business. The Chargers have a lot of shit up in the air right now. Finding an OC being right at the top of the list. An offensive line coach is something that really matters almost as much as the OC. It'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds. Thank you, David. Thank you, Richie. Of course, Brian and everybody else who joined us tonight. I'm Booga Peters. We're out for now. Peace. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.